People often mistake silence for weakness. They see a girl who walks with her head down, barely speaking above a whisper, and assume she's someone they can trample over. But they forget that the quietest people often carry the loudest storms inside. It was the second week of the new school year at Bridgewater High. Emily had just transferred in, and already, she was labeled as the weird girl. She didn't talk much, kept to herself, and always wore oversized hoodies, even in the summer heat. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said she had a scarred face underneath her hoodie, others whispered she was mute. None of them were true. Emily just didn't want to be seen. Not again. Not after everything. She had moved to Bridgewater hoping to disappear into the crowd. Her last school had ended in chaos, with headlines, police, and whispers that followed her like shadows. All Emily wanted was peace. A place to start over. But peace doesn't come easily when you're surrounded by wolves. Jason and his crew were the kings of the hallways, loud, cruel, and addicted to attention. They spotted Emily from day one. Something about her silence challenged them. It was like she dared them not to notice her. And boys like Jason didn't take kindly to that. At first, it was petty, knocking her books out of her hands, whispering crude comments as she passed, mimicking her walk. Emily endured it all with a blank face, her eyes never meeting theirs. She had faced far worse before. They didn't know that. But then, things crossed a line. It was after gym class on a Thursday afternoon. Emily was the last one in the locker room, changing slowly, making sure no one was around. She always waited. Always hid. But that day, Jason and two of his friends came back, laughing about something she couldn't hear. They saw her. Alone. Vulnerable. One of them joked, "Hey, looks like the mute chick forgot how to dress." The others laughed. Jason stepped closer. Emily backed up, trying to hide behind the open locker door. "You don't talk much, huh?" he said, smirking. "Let's see if you're ticklish." His hand reached out, quick, careless, cruel. And suddenly, Emily was frozen. His fingers grabbed her chest, just for a second. But it was long enough. Long enough to shatter something inside her. The laughter stopped. Emily didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood there, staring at them. But something in her eyes made the boys take a step back. Her silence wasn't the silence of fear anymore. It was something else. Something they didn't understand. That night, Emily didn't sleep. She sat in her room, clutching a small black box with trembling hands. Inside was a metal, old, scratched, and heavy with memories. A symbol of a life she had buried. She stared at it for a long time. Then she picked up her phone. The next morning, she walked into school in something no one had ever seen her wear. A fitted white shirt, black joggers, and her hair tied tightly back. No hoodie. No attempt to hide. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. The whispers started immediately. Heads turned. Jason smirked when he saw her. "Look who finally wants attention," he said loudly, making sure everyone could hear. But Emily didn't flinch. She walked straight to the center of the quad where the morning crowd usually gathered. Then she pulled out her phone and connected it to the outdoor speakers. A video started playing. At first, no one paid attention. Then silence fell. It was footage from 2 years ago, a national martial arts competition. The girl on the screen was younger, smiling, wearing a red belt. But there was no mistaking her. It was Emily. She was standing across from a much older opponent. And what followed was a display of speed, precision, and fury. Emily moved like lightning. Her kicks were brutal, her defense impenetrable. She didn't just win, she dominated. Gasps filled the air. Emily turned off the video and faced the crowd. Her voice, though soft, carried weight. "I didn't come here to fight," she said. "But I won't be touched again." Jason looked pale. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. He didn't laugh this time. Later that day, Emily walked into the principal's office with a calmness that unsettled everyone. She filed a formal report. The video from the locker room cameras confirmed everything. Jason and his friends were suspended immediately. charges were filed. The school went silent for days. But something began to change. Other girls started coming up to Emily. Quiet ones. Ones who had been laughed at, touched without permission, or cornered by the same group of boys. They thanked her. They told her they finally felt seen. Emily had never intended to be a leader. But sometimes, strength isn't about punching harder, it's about standing tall when everything inside you wants to run. It's about reclaiming your voice after it's been stolen. Over the next few weeks, Emily started a self-defense class at school. At first, only a few joined. But soon, dozens signed up. Girls and boys. Shy kids. Outcasts. Even athletes. They came to learn not just how to fight, but how to stand up for themselves. Emily never put her hoodie back on. She didn't need to hide anymore. And as for Jason, his smirk never returned. In fact, he transferred out after the investigation, leaving behind a legacy of silence and shame. Emily, on the other hand, had created something lasting. Something brave. People no longer called her the weird girl. Now, they called her something else. Warrior. Because sometimes, the strongest voices are the ones that take the longest to speak. And when they do, they don't just echo, they roar. To every girl who's been told to stay silent, to every boy who's been taught not to cry, remember this, your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Speak. Fight. Rise.